Dave Swift here for ClientAmp.com. This is another edition of That LTD Life, the series where I review the best and worst lifetime deals on the internet so you can help find the best software for your online business. Today, we're looking at another AI tool. I just released a video a couple days ago about a tool called Letterly, and this was an application that let you talk to your phone and it would use AI to make helpful transcriptions and turn it into content. Well, we have kind of a similar application today, but this one is called Frank.AI, and rather than being dedicated to a particular task, Frank is more of a general purpose assistant. Now, after the Letterly release, I actually received lots of questions about why you would get Letterly if you were already a ChatGPT subscriber, because it has a voice mode where you can talk to it and get it to do a bunch of things. Well, my answer to that was that Letterly was maybe more of a dedicated tool. It was purpose-driven, whereas with ChatGPT's mobile app, you can get it to do anything, but to have something that kind of frees your mind and allows you to create specific pieces of content, it's just going to take a little bit more effort. So it'll be interesting to see how Frank.AI compares to ChatGPT's mobile app, because it looks like it's trying to do a lot of similar things. I'm excited to dive into this one. Let's go ahead and check out the plans and pricing here. Looks like it's $69 and maybe there's no plans at all. Yeah, that's it, $69. There's one option. You're gonna get access to their iOS app as well as using their web app. So that is a leg up over what Letterly had. There was no computer aspects to it at all. You had to do everything on your mobile phone. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy a code here and check it out. Okay, I've got my code from AppSumo and I'm going to activate my account. When I see this pop up for lifetime access, $300. So if this is the same thing we're getting from AppSumo, obviously it's a better deal than they're offering on their own website. A little bit strange that when I click the link to redeem my code on AppSumo, it actually just takes me over to the screen and shows me an upsell for unlimited access. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna close out of this and see if I can figure out how to get my AppSumo code in here. Oh, this one definitely got me. If I read the redemption instructions here, it actually says I'm supposed to click on claim offer and then I'll be able to redeem my code. So let's go ahead and do that. Claim offer. I'll set up my account. As a marketer, I just got to appreciate the fact that they're telling me this is a $299 value as I'm going through the checkout process. There's something psychological about that that's telling me that I'm making a good choice. This is going to be a good deal. So now I've got my AppSumo code applied here, and you can see that I've got a $299 subtraction in price. My total due is now $0. I can go ahead and complete my order. This is really intelligent marketing. I've not seen anyone else do this with AppSumo codes before. I mean, sure, I just spent $69 on AppSumo, but I'm already way ahead because I didn't spend $299 on the Frank.AI website, so score. Okay, so the first screen I see here is inviting me to start talking with Frank. I want to point out that they're doing some personalization of AI here. This was a tactic that was extremely successful for Jasper early on. In fact, back then it was called Jarvis. In the early days, Jasper was called Jarvis and the original website was called Conversion.ai. And the thing it had going for it over all of the other sites was, I think the prompts were better, but most of all, it personalized AI and it made it into an actual character that we were talking with. So I think Frank.AI is onto something with that because people like talking to other people. They don't necessarily like talking to robots named ChatGPT. That's not very personal, is it? So let's try this out. I'm going to hit start chatting with Frank, and it looks extremely similar to ChatGPT. It says, hey there, Dave, any tasks I can help you with? And I can see some options here. It says Frank 3.5. I'm going to assume that is OpenAI's GPT 3.5 API protocol. And sure enough, there it is. And I can switch over to GPT 4.0. I don't know if there's any limits on that, but that's definitely something I'll want to address. Now, before I engage in some conversation here, I'll just kind of go through the interface. I've got the option to start a new chat over to the left. I've got my pinned answers right here, so I assume I can save chats using that pin. And then there's a memory prompt. Let's click into this. So this section really reminds me of how ChatGPT allows you to customize what it knows about you so that when you're engaging with it, it's got some baseline information. I don't think it's the same thing as their new memory feature where it actually just remembers some things in the chat as you speak. I like that about ChatGPT, but sometimes it feels a little bit I don't know. Creepy seems like kind of an over the top word to use, but when I'm talking to it, it'll just like randomly remember strange facts that I'm asking it about. And I don't always love that part of it. So this is much more like those custom instructions we can give to ChatGPT to just know a little bit more about ourselves. So this is actually a little bit more like a Mad Lib. So it's like, hi, Frank, you should be helpful and like to joke. Okay, that's probably fine. And then my name is Dave Swift, and I want you to remember this about me. Okay, and then I just filled in some things that I wanted to know about me, like I like online business software, I'm a fan of the Minnesota Twins, I've got 4 kids, I live in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and I used to be a professional musician before I did these YouTube videos. So we'll go ahead and engage with it, ask maybe a little bit about those types of things, and see how much it remembers. All right, so it also says we can have Frank improve over time. So that's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. So I could turn that on. I might as well. We'll try it out and see how that feature works, even though I find it sometimes a little bit like I wish I could choose precisely what it remembered. All right, I have saved that into memory. That's about the entire interface here. It's pretty bare bones. We've got a little ad to download their app. I'll be trying that out later on in the video. I can click over here to check out my profile, turn on dark mode. All right, that's very dark. It looks good though. Enough contrast for the text. There's an account details page here where I can add in some information about myself. I'm not sure why I'd want to do this, but I might as well. Kind of interesting for the socials. It only has Twitter, Reddit, and LinkedIn. And out of the 3 of those, I check Twitter, but I don't tweet a whole lot. So they don't have any social platforms that maybe a lot of other users have, like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or any of the other ones. Kind of an interesting choice here, including Reddit, but I can see how that might appeal to a particular audience. Let's go ahead and save these details. It says the Twitter link is not valid because I used an x.com link, so it's already out of date. Let's go ahead and change that over to twitter.com. All right, my account is updated. We can go ahead and check out the chat. So let's head over to new chat. All right, so let's explore this. It says it has 4.0. I wonder if it has web browsing capabilities. I'm going to ask it about some current events. Who won the Twins game today? Now, remember, I went ahead and told it that I'm a Twins fan, so we'll see if it mentions anything about that. I can't browse the internet. All right, so we've already got maybe one differentiating factor between this app and using ChatGPT. All right, I'm going to ask it if it can give me a list of the top Twins relief pitchers of all time. Let's go ahead and send this in. The reason that I'm going to do it is so that I can use the pin feature and see what that looks like over here. So it gave me a list of 7 pitchers. Let's refine this a little bit. I'm going to say, how about the top 15? All right, this is a pretty solid list. Looking through it, this type of stuff is always things that people will debate about. Let's go ahead and pin this answer over here. So I clicked pinned answer, and now it shows up in my pinned answers. So that's kind of a handy feature. That way I can easily get back to important answers that I might want to revisit later. Now, what happens if I want to continue the chat from here? Is there any way to do so? Well, unfortunately, it's not looking like that's possible. There's a triple dots up here. If I click on that, you can see part of it's kind of cut off from the interface here. Looks like a thumbs down. I can't get to that. It goes away. There we are. Or incorrect answer. And then at the bottom, I can regenerate the answer, unpin it, or share it. If I click on the share button, it gives me a nice little window here where I can copy the answer and then share to a different social media network. I gotta wonder if it isn't better to just do the interface that we see on ChatGPT as well as Claude and have the little copy paste icon so that I could just easily copy it without having to open up a different window. I know some people might be like, well, I just want to copy part of it, but then you can just do that right inside of the window here. So already some things that are nice about Frank, but potentially if you're already paying for ChatGPT and a monthly subscription, keep in mind here, we're comparing a $20 a month subscription to a one-time payment. That's a big difference, but there's definitely some drawbacks from using the one-time payment software so far. All right, let's try some coding. I'm gonna have it make something called a custom route for my ghost site. This should be fairly simple. It should be like a JSON expression. So let's see what it does here. I've got the prompt already entered. I'm gonna go ahead and submit it. All right, this looks pretty nice. It's output the code block. Again, we're missing that copy and paste, that's what you'd want to copy right here, right? I don't want to have to select everything every time. Very simple fix, by the way. Hopefully developers might catch wind of this video and they could just add that little button in. That would make this a lot easier, but it looks like overall, everything looks pretty good here. Oh, and if you're watching this, I misspoke earlier. I said it would output some JSON. This is actually YAML. That's exactly what we want. This is the correct format. And it even gave me the instructions here on how to use it on my Go site, and everything it said is correct. I don't know what your experience has been, but one of the things that I get caught up in most or get stuck on most is that when I'm copying answers from Claude or ChatGPT, the formatting is always weird if I'm going into email or if I'm going into a word processor or something like that. Often the markdown gets pasted in and then those applications don't support it. Well, I've just copied and pasted the answer from Frank into Apple Notes here, and you can see it added all of this list information when there's not even a list at all. So that's definitely a problem. We'll need to have cleaner output. One fix for this, if you're not familiar, is to paste without formatting. So on the Mac, I'm just going to get rid of this. What I can do is press Shift Option Command V. It's kind of a fingerful, like you have to use a lot of your fingers on your keyboard, and then you can paste the information without having that markdown or any extra formatting included. If you're on Windows, I'm not sure what the key command is, but I know there is an option to paste without any additional styling, and that's really what you want to look for. But sometimes you want the styling, you wanted a bulleted list or something like that, but you didn't want it to, show all of the markdown, so you had to manually take it out. So this is still something that, we're early days here. We forget, we feel like AI has been here forever, but those are those little quality of life things that I want to see improved across all of the AI platforms. But yeah, so the list I showed you was just from me copying this right here. And you can see that there's a number 1 and number 2. So it just went on when I pasted this into Apple Notes, and it gave every single line basically a list after that. Let's try copying the answer from right here. And then I'm going to paste this into a new note. This looks a lot better. So now we're in a nice happy spot in the middle. It's still got the markdown. That's what these little symbols are to show that's a code block. But and then you can see the markdown right here. Just Apple Notes doesn't support markdown. So that's kind of what we were talking about a moment ago. If you really want to get into the weeds with this stuff, there are websites like Markdown to HTML where you can paste in some markdown and then you'll get the HTML out. Just select that, copy it. And then when you go into your notes document, everything's going to look, well, there we go. That looked like what it looked like before. I didn't expect that, but that often works for me in other applications. I think it's that numbering convention that's throwing things off for Frank. All right, just a few more things to check out inside of the desktop app, and then we'll switch over to the mobile app. Down here where I'm actually entering my prompts, there's a plus button, and this allows me to do some more things. I can add images, upload files, analyze websites, that's quite cool, and generate images. Why don't we start with generating an image, since that seems pretty simple. Looks like I've got some options here: a gorilla smoking a cigar while wearing a tuxedo, digital render. All right, so let's do, how about portrait mode, natural, and HD. And I'm going to say a man using a computer really excited about his website. All right, let's go ahead and generate this. Now, interestingly, it's generating the image, but I find it interesting the prompt that it gave it. It just said, generate an image from this prompt, a man using a computer really excited about his website. I wonder if I couldn't have just typed in generate an image from this prompt. I'm going to have to try that next. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit the trigger on this one, but first our image is done. All right, there you go. It's definitely a man being excited about his website, and you can kind of see the reflection of the website off of the glasses. The reflection is also going onto his forehead. So it's got some AI artifacting, but let's see, let's do a finger count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that a finger back there? I think it's the right number of fingers. I've seen worse. All right, I'm going to try just asking it to generate an image from a prompt without actually using that tool and see what it does. All right, so this is interesting. It's giving me a different loading animation here. I swear before it was more of like a progress bar, but it's also not outputting any text right away, which makes me think it's probably actually creating an image. And sure enough, it did. There we go. A mouse riding a motorcycle on an X Games course. Looks pretty good. There's a little share link down here. I'm going to try opening that up in a private window so we can see what it looks like. There we go. Direct link to the image. Looks like pretty high quality. That's impressive. All right, I'm going to have it analyze a website here. Go ahead and just type in ClientAmp.com. That is our website. Check it out if you want help with your online business. Let's go ahead and hit confirm here. All right, so let's just put that in the URL, and I'll say, how would you improve this copy? All right, so it said, I'd be more than happy to improve your copy. Please provide the text you'd like me to enhance. So it didn't actually check out the website. That is interesting. I'll say the copy on ClientAmp.com and see if it's able to figure things out. Can't access the internet. All right, that is very peculiar. So when I hit the Analyze URL button, it says, enter a website to Frank should analyze and help you with kind of odd verbiage there, summarize and provide insights on. All right, so I'm just going to grab this Engadget article on Primedale, copy the URL, and then back in Frank, I'll paste it in, and I'll just say summarize. Now it's analyzing the website. So now it says, sure, I can help you with that. Please provide the specific text from Client.AI that you would like me to summarize. Now remember, I just gave it the Engadget article and it's referring to our conversation earlier about Client.AI. So I'm gonna say that this probably is a feature that's a work in progress and is not that far along right now, unless I'm doing something out of the ordinary, but I don't think that I am. All right, let's try adding an image and asking about the image. So I've got one here in my downloads folder. I'm just gonna drag and drop this in here and see if it works. It looks like it does. Of course, I could have picked the image by going here and choosing add image, and it just opens the file selector here. So I'm gonna say, what is this? It's analyzing the image right now. And it says, this image shows a plate with 3 tacos, commonly associated with Mexican cuisine. Each taco consists of a soft tortilla filled with what appears to be grilled meat, diced onions, and chopped cilantro. Accompanying the tacos are a wedge of lime and radish. Okay, so this looks like a pretty good description of what's going on the image, so I'm content with that. All right, I'm gonna ask it if they're flour or corn tortillas. All right, so it says it's difficult to tell whether they are flour or corn. However, street tacos often use corn tortillas. And it says if you can provide more details or a clearer image, you can probably give I said he, because his name's Frank, can give a more accurate assessment. Looking at this, I tend to agree. It is kind of hard to tell. I think the fact that there are 2 tortillas gives it away that those are corn tortillas, but this AI doesn't have to know everything quite yet. Give it a year. All right, next I'm going to upload a spreadsheet here with 100 sample contacts in it, and I'm going to ask it to tell me about this document. All right, so it's listing all of the headers inside of the document, and then it's gonna go through and give me a few notable entries, and it looks like I can probably ask it more information about the document. Let's say, what is Myra's email? By the way, these are all completely fake contacts, so no exposing anyone here. All right, so we're kind of running into some problems here. It says, based on the structure of the contact list like the one described, Myra Munn's email address will be listed in the email address field. However, without access to the actual document, I can't provide her specific email address. So if you have the document, so it's not remembering this document. That's a bit problematic. So I'm gonna run it again, uploading the contact list again and see if it's able to give me an answer. All right, this time it does. Now, obviously, I don't wanna be uploading the document every single time I ask it a question. So let's just try it again here. Maybe that was a bug. I'll grab one of these other names and say, what about Tyra? Oh, and this time it does it. So that's very interesting. Can we get 3 in a row? All right. Seems to know the document now after the second upload. So maybe just a little bit spotty, but seems reliable now. All right. Overall, this is not a perfect application so far, but I'm very impressed. The generated images were very good. The text output on even just like the twins question, really high quality. You can tell it's actually using ChatGPT 4.0. So yeah, things are looking good. Let's go ahead and get the mobile app installed. All right, so I want to go ahead and get the mobile app installed. I'm going to click on the little button over here, and it actually just pops open the mobile app on the Mac App Store. So I'm able to run this app on my Mac. It's not designed for Mac, it's designed for iPhone, but with the Apple Silicon, you can end up running your phone apps on your computer. That's not what I want to do right now. I actually want to run it on the phone and see what that experience is like. So I'll just go to the phone and do that directly. All right, so here is Frank on the iOS App Store. I'll go ahead and download it. You can see it is free to download with in-app purchases, but obviously we should not need that because we've got the AppSumo lifetime deal. I'm gonna open this up. By the way, if you wanna grab Frank, if you like what you're seeing, I've got a link down below that helps support this content. If you click on that before making a purchase, it won't actually save you any additional money, but it does help me out, so it's not gonna cost you anything extra either. Definitely consider doing that if you're enjoying these lifetime deal reviews. All right, so I've got the option here to sign in with my existing account, so I'm gonna do that. Sign in with email, because that's how I signed up. And there we go, I'm gonna log in. Wants to send me notifications. I'm not gonna allow it for now. And it's asking me a few questions about what I'd like to use Frank for. Let's see, I can do marketing, internet search. So that's interesting. It can search on the phone, but it definitely couldn't do that. It's the first thing I asked it to do on the desktop. How about workout routines? That sounds good. This is like a general purpose assistant from the way they're pitching it here. Work emails. recipes and meal planning. Yeah, let's start with that. All right, it says, use the microphone to ask questions with voice. Tap anywhere to continue. Click the light bulb to generate AI images or access shortcuts. And write your first message with Frank in the text fields. Tap anywhere to continue. Happy Thursday, Dave. Any tasks I can help you with? All right, so the first hint of knowing something about me is on this screen. It says, suggest fun activities for a family of 4 to do indoors on a rainy day. Now, I'm not a family of 4, we're a family of 6, but I think that's referring to the fact that I have 4 kids. I noticed it did default to Frank 3.5. I don't know why anyone would want 3.5 at this point, since 4.0 is basically as fast, but just so much more intelligent. So I would like it to default to that, but easy enough to switch. I'm going to grant it access to my microphone, and we'll try out using the dictation features. It looks like it's actually just doing speech recognition on the fly here. I'm going to go ahead and have to reset this. So I'd like you to search the web and find out who won the Twins game today. And here it says it can't browse the internet. So yeah, definitely interesting that oh, look, it's pulled up the little voice detection thing again. So I could continue talking with it without having to touch anything on my phone, which is good. And also I'd like it to ask permission before turning on my microphone. Can you analyze the website Client.AI.com? Oh, it looks like I got the detection wrong here and it's still going. Analyze the website Client.AI.com. I didn't mean to tell it now, but it's giving me an answer here. What I'd like to say is that as I was doing the voice dictation, it put a space between client and amp. Oh, it's doing voice dictation again. So far, this is nice, but I want a little more control. So as I was saying, I was trying to get it to analyze the website client amp without a space in the middle, but it kept inserting the space and I can't stop the voice dictation and have it leave that prompt on the screen, because as soon as I stop the voice dictation, what I've dictated so far goes away and I can't modify it with my hands, if that makes any sense at all. So it's actually probably going to be better for me to use the built-in dictation on iOS. I'd like you to analyze the website clientamp.com and tell me about its CRO optimizations and how I could improve it. So now that it's done doing dictation here, I can move the cursor over and get it exactly where I want and send in that message. Now it's giving me quite a long output here, but the first thing it said, I noticed before it scrolled way past it, is that it can't browse the web. So that's a very interesting thing, that it's talking about browsing the web, but then anytime you ask it to, it's not able to do so. All right, let's click around on the interface here. I don't assume that the answers are going to be all that different on the mobile app than they would be on the desktop, but let's see what we've got on the desktop. So hitting the plus button, it's going to give me a pretty similar interface to what we saw on the desktop, but a few more options here. I can take a picture, choose from my library, upload a file, analyze a website, generate an image, scan text, or view templates. Let's check out the templates. So I've got school exams, work emails, internet search. Oh boy, is there anything interesting here? It's got translations, that's pretty cool. Brainstorm subject lines, we just talked about that in our email or engine mailer video from yesterday, maybe 2 days ago as of the posting of this. We've got pickup lines, music lyrics. Let's try music lyrics, why not? Write a verse of a song about eating tacos on a day other than Tuesday. All right, this will be silly and lame, I'm sure. All right, so it says, Wednesday night, under the lights, I found a little spot that felt just right. No need to wait for Taco Tuesday's call, because every day's a feast when tacos are involved. With a squeeze of lime and dash of spice, every single bite feels like paradise. From carne asada to al pastor, delight, eating tacos any day makes everything all right. I mean, okay, it's cheesy, but like that's always impressive. Like, I don't know. AI is still cool. It does make me think of that quote that's been going around lately about how I want AI to do the dishes and, vacuum the floor and leave me time to write music and do art, which I definitely agree with. All right, so let's have it scan some text. I don't have any books right in front of me here, but I'm going to do take a picture, and I'll just take a picture of my screen, which actually currently has Frank on it. So let's see what it says here. All right, so obviously the screen said, "Good morning, Dave. How can I help you?" And let's see what we've got here. Okay, oddly enough, it's going crazy at the moment. But what happened when I had it scan the text is that it put it in as like a prompt so I could ask Frank about whatever I'm seeing in real life. So that's kind of cool. And it just went on and on. I don't know what it was doing. It said, thank you note to babysitter, which is funny. I'm not sure where it pulled that from. Oh, that's because one of the suggestions on Frank on my screen was to write a thank you note to our babysitter for the last minute help. All right, makes sense. So we are on the chat icon down here in the lower left with the little chat bubble. We've got 4 squares in the middle where we can see templates. Looks like we can create our own templates and view the ones that they have. Let's try to create a template here. I can create a new prompt. All right, the prompt I entered in was, give me ideas for clickable YouTube video titles based on this copy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just paste in some copy here. Okay, so I'm on the AppSumo website. I'm gonna go ahead and find Frank's sales page. Let's just select a chunk of this. All right, should be enough here. I'm gonna copy that, paste it in, and now I'll hit create. No, actually, that's not what I wanna do because I wanna be able to enter that in as I'm using the template. So I'll hit update here and hopefully I can save it just like that. All right, now let's go back and try to use this template. All right, so we'll go ahead and click on that from my templates, and then I'll just paste in the text that I copied from the AppSumo website and hit generate. There we go. We've got some titles for our video today. That's pretty cool. Let's see if they're any good. Unlock the power of AI with Frank, one-time payment, lifetime deal. Meet Frank.AI, the blazingly fast AI assistant for iOS and web. Why content creators love Frank.AI. 4.67 stars and counting. All right, so I mean, these aren't amazing, but I could probably go in and refine my prompt a little bit too. I kind of just did it, on the run and gun here on the go, but they're not terrible. So last option over here is the little user avatar on the lower right. And inside of here, we can see our pinned answers. I was actually hoping I would be able to find that on my phone. You can see these are the top 15 pictures that I had it find in earlier in the video. So I can definitely access those from inside of my phone as well. I can also view previous conversations. Those are all accessible to me. And I can turn on push notifications. I don't know why I need it to have push notifications, at least at this phase of the game. Now, one thing that's worth noting is that they do have a keyboard extension so that you could be using Frank.AI inside of other apps and be able to quickly pull up the Frank.AI keyboard. I've never been one to use custom keyboards in iOS. So I'm just gonna skip that from the video, but just know that that's a feature for you if you wanna take advantage of that, if you're a custom keyboard type of person. I experimented with those when they first came out, and I always found them to be more trouble than anything. So I was kind of surprised to actually see that they went ahead with that feature because it kind of feels abandoned in the iOS ecosystem. I don't know, am I alone on that? Are you a custom keyboard person? Let me know down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Yeah, so then the only other feedback I would have for the mobile app, it looks nice. But you're going to see here that as I scroll through the text, there is no background color on the lower navigation. So as I'm going through busy, crowded sections, sometimes the icon actually gets in the way of the text down here, which as I'm holding the phone on the screen, it might look bigger depending on how you're watching this video. But as I'm holding the phone, it's actually a little bit annoying. But overall, a nicely designed, beautiful app. I can't really complain too much about it other than the one thing I already complained about. Oh, it looks like they actually have voice styles here. We've got Frank, Samantha, and Hannah. I've not heard it speak to me yet, so we'll have to figure that out. I was checking to see if there's a dark mode on the phone. I was actually in dark mode. Oh, right here, night mode. Okay, so that was on by default, probably because of the time of day. So here's what the app looks like in just your regular, normal mode. I guess we call it day mode. Is that what we're calling it now? All right, I want to start a new conversation and try out the conversational mode, see if I can get that to happen. Hey, so I want to have a conversation with you. How are you doing? It doesn't talk back to me. All right, let's see if this is it. I want to have a conversation with you. How are you doing? The voice dictation went away. Oh, you know what? I am sending out my system audio via system capture here. So there's a chance that it's been talking to me and I didn't hear it. So I'm actually just going to turn off my recording and we'll try it that way. All right, so I figured it out. I'm going to go ahead here and turn on the microphone just like I've done throughout the video. And then I'll hold the phone up to my microphone here so you can actually hear what the voice assistant sounds like. I believe I have it on one of the women right now. Yeah, I have it on Samantha. Let's start off at...
My name is Frank.
So here's Frank. Let's see what Frank sounds like since, it's his app. All right. Hey, what's going on, Frank? I'm just looking for someone to chat with about baseball. What do you think?
That sounds great, Dave. As a fan of the Minnesota Twins, you must be pretty passionate about baseball. How do you feel about the Twins' performance this season? Any standout players or memorable games for you?
Okay, so that was pretty good. I'd say the voice quality, definitely not as good as ChatGPT. And it did turn off my microphone automatically that time. I don't know why it wasn't before, but that's important to note. So overall, I mean, it's like, I would say so far, I guess we can kind of start to summarize this video. I would say that Frank is good. It's just not to the level that ChatGPT Plus is. But hey, if you don't have the $20 a month, or you just don't see the value in $20 a month to pay for GPT Plus, then Frank, one-time cost, $69, definitely going to be a worth, even, use it a few times here and there. You don't feel like you're wasting $20 every single month. That's actually something I've heard from some of my friends is like, all these things are expensive and I barely use them, so I don't want to have all these subscriptions. Well, something like Frank, you're going to get a lot of use out of, and you don't have to worry about if you go a few weeks or a few months even without picking it back up, because it's kind of a one and done payment type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a score. I think my gut reaction is to worry a little bit like how they must have some credits for this, right? They must be, because their API bill is going to be just ginormous if they're giving everyone lifetime access to this. So longevity wise, worries me. Love to know more about how this is being financed, because obviously this stuff is not free for them to execute, but that's for them to deal with, and hopefully they make it a year. By the way, if you're not familiar, AppSumo launched a new kind of guarantee policy. Let me find you the details, because I think this might be an app where it kind of comes into play. Like, we want to know about this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So AppSumo recently announced a purchase protection policy. If you're not aware of this, let me break it down for you very quickly here. Basically, if you're a Plus member, you will get a 100% credit if an app shuts down within 12 months of you making a purchase. And if you're not a Plus member, you get a 50% credit. So in this case, if you are spending $69 and let's say 6 months later, Frank, even though really nice app, looks really good, but they just figured that they can't pay these OpenAI bills, well, then you'll get your $69 back in credits on AppSumo, so you can get another tool. If you're not a Plus member, you will get half of that. So whatever, what is that, $34.50, something like that. You'll get that back over on credits in AppSumo. So I really like this purchase protection policy because now everything's spelled out in plain English. There's no guessing about whether something qualifies. That's a really nice thing to have. I'm not saying that Frank's going anywhere, but like I said, there's overhead to this. So I would love to know more of the details about how they can do it long-term for lifetime customers, because it's good. It's like 80% of ChatGPT Plus. You get the latest model, you get the voice conversation, you get to save your answers. It has memory. You can tell it the custom instructions. It's really good. It has, like, if you were to just put it in a table compared to ChatGPT Plus, it's going to check most of those boxes. I would still prefer to use the app, the ChatGPT app. I think it's just better. I like the animations. I like the voices better. But I can see a real case for not using it. So we need to put a bow on this thing and give this a score. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7.1. Might be a little bit on the low side. It's a beautiful app, works very, very well, has all of these amazing features. I can't imagine 3-4 years ago reviewing an app like this and being like, 7.1. It's amazing for what it does. But in context, there's just some things that I would love to see fleshed out, namely that longevity thing. So 7.1, that is my review of Frank.AI. If you want to pick it up, I've got a link down below in the description. If you want help with your website, head over to clientamp.com. Once again, I am Dave Swift. Leave me any comments down below. I'll be checking them frequently throughout the week. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next review.